Okay then, so in this video I will be talking you through a session I had with Cherry yesterday. So this is uncut GoPro footage. Well, I will make a few cuts on the ways, but this is GoPro footage of the entire session. And it is just really for me to look through it and process it and comment on it on the ways and learn from it, because I think it's a great learning tool for myself personally to process my sessions like this to evolve as a horse trainer, really. So I will probably be making a lot of these videos. But anyways, this day and the day before, we were working on just standing still for the mounting block. It isn't something she seems to have been taught before, so I really want to put some work into it, into all the basic kind of handlings, really, to make the horse secure and safe and easy to handle. And I don't want her moving away from the mounting block when I present it to her, and I don't want her to move off the second I get into the saddle. I want her to wait for my signal. So yeah, in general, I do put a lot of work into basic stuff like that. So the day before hadn't really been great. I wasn't on top of my game, and she was very distractible and fuzzy-headed, and just she was in no way able to concentrate, really. But we ended that session well, and we did learn something from it, but this session here went a lot better. So what we did in the first session, really, I had the mounting block out in the arena like this, and I walked her up to it, and the thing she does is she just moves her bum away from it and stands like she does here, pretty much. She places herself like that, so we just worked on her standing still with it beside her, and then we advanced that to me standing on it while she was standing still. And it took a few tries, but she did get it eventually. And of course we did repeat this on both sides, as you do, teaching both the right and the left horse how to deal with things. And her left side is more difficult for her in general, so it demands more patience. But it's all about me being able to be precise and to make things as simple for her as possible. She is undoubtedly one of the sharpest horses I've ever had to work with. And it's so rewarding, because if I do ask the question correctly, she understands it in the blink of an eye. She just picks up on it immediately, and she's learned it. But it also goes the other way around, that if I ask the question wrong, she gets easily frustrated. So yeah, but we just started out with some basic, just checking that our communication was up to par, and I wanted her to be on the same page as me, paying attention, so we just did a bit of lunging, and that has been an issue for her, but she did really well. So here she was moving a bit slowly, and I just asked her for a bit more energy, and she offered me more than I meant for her to do, which is fine. But then she does the thing where she kind of wants to come towards me, and usually she has stopped and thrown herself in the other direction and been super drama llama about it. And we have been working on that, and she, as you saw there, she answered really nicely to my cues and kept moving on around me, so I was super happy with that. I asked her to go again and corrected her out with the whip to the shoulder, and she responded nicely. A bit slow, asked her to get forward again, didn't want to move through the puddle really, another correction to the shoulder, and then I asked her to focus, and she got a bit fussy, but then I asked her to halt, and she did that so nicely, as you see there. I was super happy with that. And then she moved off again on my cue, and she did great there. And she was walking rather nicely, but a little bit slow. Asked her to move forward again, and then I lost control of my rope because it got too long. I had to rearrange that for a bit, but then she moves off again really nicely to the shoulder before she would have just thrown herself the other way. So I was really happy with her there, really, and she started trotting and just kind of offering me a bit more energy. And I asked her to move off again, and she did that nicely, having to jump a little bit, but yeah, as I said there, she's a bit extra. But she kept answering nicely to my cues, and then I just asked her to calm down again and come back to me, because I was happy with what she had done, but now she kind of didn't want to stop. So, but there she stopped. She answered to my cue, and she did turn a bomb out there. But at the same time, I was really happy with that anyway. So we moved on. I'm not really sure what we were doing here. I think we were just checking that she was paying attention while I was leading her and just repeating it a bit on the left side. I didn't do much on the left side because, as I said, her left side in general is more difficult for her. So I didn't. This was not what we were going to work on today. We weren't really going to focus on the lunging, even though she did really well, and I think she learned something there too. But like this, her answer here to my cues on the left hand was just really nice. So I was very happy with that, just in itself. I didn't want to ask more of her there, so we just moved up to the fence to do a bit of a change in tack, getting my reins instead of my lunge line. So I'll just cut the video here for a second. Yeah, so here we were just working away from the fence again, and she was sniffing the ground and just in general being really relaxed, and I was happy with her for that because she didn't work herself up in the lunge line when she had a bit of a fizz, but this was actually one of her like super chill days. She was a bit slow to stop there, but I was just going to check on the saddle. And she actually did really good for just standing so completely still. I was happy with that again, but then we moved on over to the mounting block, and she does this. You can see the issue here. I'm not sure if she actually saw it, but she does turn towards the person who leads her like that. So, but I just moved it up to her and picked up right where we left off the day before, actually. And she did super. First time we did this yesterday, she moved off like completely, but then she did really well there, and I was happy, and we walked off again. So we just turned around, and she kind of, when you lead her and you stop and she turns in front of you, it's like that move foals do in front of the mother. So in her head, I swear, she's not 5, she is 3 or 2 sometimes on certain things, but yeah. Had a bit of a check on the circle there to see if she was with me, and then stopped her again, and she stopped nicely there. She just had a bit of a twist, but it was better than the last time. And I just climbed up, and I was going to put a bit of weight on the saddle here, and then she started to move off. And I know I don't do things perfectly, and I could have done this in a better way. I could have used a passage to help me correct her hindquarters. But then I did it again, and she stood still, so she did understand what I meant. So I was happy with that, and I got down again, and we walked off once again, getting a bit of a praise and a bit of a scratch there. And as I said, she is just super smart. Once she understands what I want from her, she does it. Of course, she does have her own opinions on things sometimes, but at the same time, she is really nice to work with. And then another check that she can halt, and I was just going to switch sides here. She halted nicely there. She does oftentimes just kind of keep walking. That is something we need to work more on. But then she stood so still and nice here. And as I said, she was just super chill this day. So yeah, on again to the mounting block, or no, walking around, I don't know, checking the brakes, and she braked nicely there. Yeah, I'm moving the mounting block up to her again, moving her up to the mounting block, sorry, and then she stopped super and straight, and she just stood, and yeah, and this was a difficult side, so for starters, that was good. And she just stood still, and I didn't put weight on the saddle because I did repeat it up the steps on for the right side brain horsey too. Yeah, so the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body and blah blah. So I guess it's the right brain horse I was training now. So walking up the steps and repeating it. And this time she twisted away again, but I don't stress it too much. I think that's more of a leading issue than it is a mounting block issue at that point. So yeah, and then she moved off again, but she stopped. She stopped quickly on my aid, which was really good. She had to rub her legs a bit there, getting a bit stressed in her head maybe. Then I wanted her to focus again, and she started moving off. And instead of trying to correct her, I was thinking about it there, but I just decided that I would get down from the mounting block and move her, and then get up on it again. And she moves off, but I just ignore it and place the mounting block where I want it, and climb up, put a bit of weight on the saddle, and she stands like a saint. And she was super. I was really happy with her there. She was progressing fairly quickly on the left side today compared to other days, so it was a really good day in general. I took down the one stirrup there, preparing for mounting her. So we were just walking around having a bit of a break here, and she stretched really nicely and just walked loosely through her body, and it felt good. She felt in the right set of mind, and the break was it was good for me too. When I work like this, my brain works overdrive. It spins really fast, analyzing and just thinking through every move I do. So it gets kind of hot up in there. So a break felt really good. And in general, when you're training horses, breaks are super important. I think it's actually normally underrated. Just braking and stretching. So yeah, here I was starting to prepare. The break was over. I was starting to prepare for mounting her. So then I took down the stirrup and I was going to tighten the girth. And the wind was kind of acting up, and she moved off a bit. But then I just told her that, no, I want you to stand still. And then she did. So here, I was just having a bit of a rethink because I wanted the reins to already be over her head, moving up to the mounting block, and we just moved off from it again and just came another round around to have a go at it. And I decided to mount her from the right side because that is, as I said, her easiest side. And it felt right. She got a bit distracted by that car there, but she got back to me nicely, and I was checking with my body to make sure I was in the right place, and then I asked her to move up to it. She moved away from it, and I just moved it after her. So I see that we will have to work a bit on that part, and probably by using a different method. So here I just put some weight in the stirrup, and she stood beautifully for that. So then we moved off to go another round, just to kind of chew it through. So I break it down into as tiny pieces as I can to make sure that it's easy for her to understand and to feel confident in the task I'm giving her, which is really the clue in horse training in general. So approaching the stool this time wasn't really great, but I didn't want to correct her there. I don't want to overcorrect. I'd rather just leave that for another day. So she stood really nicely and relaxed, and I just mounted her, sitting down softly, and she actually stood still for a second before she started moving up. So she started moving again there, but I asked her to stand, and she stretched down and just kind of relaxed and waited for my signal to go, and I was really happy with that. But then she started to think that, oh, I've got a rider on my back, so it's time to go. So then I just kind of sat deeply and told her that no, we're going to relax. And then she was like, oh, okay, I can do that, and just really relaxed her body there and halted off of my breath alone so softly. And I was so impressed with her and super happy with that. She really exceeded my expectations there, and I decided that because I had originally planned to mount her twice, but I feel like she understood what I wanted from her and I didn't need to repeat it. I am very much for quality over quantity, and drilling something doesn't really do any good, so that session was just super good and very productive, I feel. I actually let the camera roll on for a bit afterwards, because we have this, as you see there, this garbage can with plastic in it, besides the cross ties, and she found that super interesting. Here she was just being a bit of a baby about having her halter on, because she was so interested in that one, and I will just show you what happened there in in a few seconds. I filmed it on my cell phone because I stopped the GoPro seconds after this.
Flink inte. Flink inte. Ja.
So, thinking in retrospect of this, I probably shouldn't have attached the chain to her halter, but I wasn't really expecting anything like this to happen, of course, and I don't really know her enough yet to trust her to be loose, so yeah. But to be perfectly honest, I do think it's actually quite healthy for them to explore like this and to have things happen to them and around them. And having to deal with that, having to respond to the consequences of their actions. And I think she handled herself really well, and as you can see, she wasn't scared afterwards. She was right back at it, being curious and mouthy and chewing away at the plastic. And then she decided to play tug of war with it like a little puppy, and it was just adorable. But yeah, she really impressed me this day, and we had a super session, so all in all, I was really happy with her, and making this video was a lot of fun and a great learning experience for me. So I'll probably keep making these kinds of videos. So yeah, but that's it for now.